Jessica Heeringa, 25 years old, was rearranging the final shelves of her shift. In her mind at that moment, there was only the image of a warm home where her 3-year-old son was waiting for his mother to return after work. She had no idea that she had less than 20 minutes left to live. Because just outside the parking lot, hidden within the deep darkness, Jeffrey Willis was watching her. He sat motionless inside a silver van filled with restraints and medical equipment. While Jessica was planning for tomorrow, Jeffrey was planning for her to disappear forever. This is the story of 15 fateful minutes that changed everything, and a 3-year-long manhunt to expose a monster hiding behind the most ordinary appearance. In April 2013, Jessica Heeringa's life stood on the edge of new hope. She had a family to love, simple routines, and a familiar route home along the quiet streets of Michigan. Every night, she methodically checked the cash register, locked the front door, and drove home. But Jessica never realized that this very routine would become deadly bait for a predator. That predator had carefully studied her habits, silently calculating every movement, waiting for the single moment when she would be most vulnerable. On paper, Jeffrey Willis was just an ordinary maintenance worker who lived quietly and kept to himself. But beneath that harmless exterior was a hollow and deeply disturbed mind. Surveillance footage later revealed a chilling truth. In the weeks before Jessica disappeared, Jeffrey had visited the gas station at least 15 times. On some days, he appeared multiple times. He did not stop for gas. He did not buy cigarettes. He parked there for one reason only: to watch her. He was not a customer. He was a hunter, patiently waiting for his prey to fall into the trap. Just before the night of her disappearance, something strange happened. Looking back, it would become a haunting warning sign. One late evening, a female customer was chatting with Jessica. Seeing the young woman working alone so late, the customer expressed concern. She told Jessica to be careful working by herself at night. At that moment, a male customer standing nearby suddenly inserted himself into the conversation. In a calm but unsettling tone, he said that Jessica had customers watching out for her too. Instead of feeling reassured, Jessica visibly trembled. She said nothing and simply shook her head with an uneasy expression. The woman sensed the tension and felt that something was wrong. She stayed nearby and watched until the strange man finally left. That man was Jeffrey Willis. He had revealed himself. He had openly planted fear. Jessica was safe that night, but the predator was still waiting for another opportunity. Friday, April 26, 2013, began like any other workday. Jessica clocked in at 4:35 p.m. Everything seemed completely normal. Her boyfriend stopped by around 7 p.m. Friends also passed through to check on her. Time continued to pass until around 9 p.m., when witnesses noticed a familiar sight. The silver van had returned. They saw Jessica step out near the gas pumps and speak with the driver. She smiled and appeared relaxed. It looked like a friendly conversation between acquaintances. The van then quietly drove away. From inside the store, no one could see the driver's face. Only Jessica saw him. But that was only the prelude. 2 hours later, at 10:55 p.m., a store manager riding past noticed something strange. The silver Chrysler Town and Country had returned again. This time, it did not park at the pumps. It was circling behind the gas station. Why would someone drive behind the building at that hour? The back area was dark and led only to an emergency exit. Peering into the dim darkness, the manager saw a figure standing at the rear of the van. The rear door opened and closed repeatedly, as if the man was adjusting something large inside. One detail would later haunt investigators. The rear door of the van had no exterior handle. It could only be opened from the inside or by someone with the keys. The manager saw a man wearing an orange hoodie with wild, curly hair. There were no screams, no visible struggle. Everything was terrifyingly quiet. The van slowly pulled away, carrying a dark secret into the night. Just 15 minutes later, at 11:10 p.m., a customer entered the Exxon gas station. The first thing he noticed was not danger, but an unsettling silence. The lights were still on. The cash drawer was open and filled with money. Jessica's purse, car keys, and jacket were still behind the counter, but Jessica was gone. The customer walked around the building calling her name. There was no response. When police arrived, they were met with a confusing scene. If it was a robbery, why was the money untouched? If Jessica had left voluntarily, why did she leave behind everything important? The truth began to emerge when officers moved to the back door. On the cold concrete, they found a small amount of biological evidence and a strange plastic fragment. It was the battery cover of a laser sight from a handgun. Jessica Heeringa had been abducted. She had been assaulted, knocked unconscious, and forced into the back of the van. The van had no interior handle, leaving her no way to escape. Norton Shores police launched a massive search. They were looking for a silver Chrysler Town and Country from the early 2000s. The reality was devastating. Michigan alone had more than 15,000 similar vans. Without a license plate, the search was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Months passed. Jessica's case grew cold, but the predator was still out there, and he was still hungry. On June 29, 2014, more than a year after Jessica disappeared, another body was found. Rebecca Bletch, 36 years old, was discovered dead along her jogging route. She had been shot 3 times in the back of the head. Police recovered 3.22 caliber shell casings at the scene. 2 women, 2 cases. At the time, no one connected them. The killer successfully hid in plain sight for 3 years. He went to work, he lived his life, and he secretly kept trophies of his crimes. In April 2016, Jeffrey Willis resurfaced. This time, his target was a 16-year-old girl. When she became lost, the familiar silver van pulled over. Willis offered to help. She entered the passenger seat to use his phone. As soon as the door closed, his true nature emerged. He pulled out a gun. But this victim fought to survive. Facing death, the teenager made a desperate decision. She grabbed the door handle and threw herself from the moving vehicle. She hit the pavement, rolled several times, and despite the pain, got up and ran. The silver van sped away. But this time, it could not escape its secret. Police had the license plate, and the name Jeffrey Willis appeared. On May 17, 2016, police raided Jeffrey Willis's home. What they found confirmed he was a serial predator. Inside the van, officers discovered syringes, restraints, rope, and a .22 caliber handgun with a laser sight. The gun was missing its battery cover. The plastic fragment found at Jessica's scene matched perfectly. Ballistics confirmed the same weapon killed Rebecca Bletch. The real nightmare was found on Willis's computer. Investigators discovered a folder labeled VIX, short for victims. Inside were subfolders containing photos and information about Rebecca and Jessica. He kept their suffering as trophies. His computer password was J4L27H13. The letters J and H stood for Jessica Heeringa. The numbers referenced April 27, 2013, the day after she disappeared. When the evidence became overwhelming, Willis's cousin Kevin Bloom broke down. Bloom stated that on the night Jessica vanished, Willis called him and said he had a woman and was throwing a party. When Bloom arrived, Jessica was lying on the floor, badly injured, but still alive. Willis admitted he knocked her unconscious, forced her into the van, and brought her there. Bloom said he witnessed Jessica's final hours before Willis ended her life. They disposed of her body somewhere on the property. Despite searches, Jessica has never been found. In May 2018, the trial began. Even without a body, the flood of evidence left Willis no escape. After 90 minutes of deliberation, the jury returned its verdict. Jeffrey Willis was found guilty of first-degree murder and kidnapping. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. In court, he showed no remorse. He never spoke the victims' names. Justice was served. He will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Jessica Heeringa's case closed with a conviction, but the pain remains. It is a reminder that evil often hides behind ordinary faces. To protect yourself, Always trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, leave immediately. Avoid working alone at night. Always share your location with someone you trust. Thank you for watching today's case. If you found this story valuable, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We will continue searching for the truth together. Goodbye, and see you next time.